Hi there, I'm Michael Giblin with Fiddlershop.com, and welcome to the Pirastro Oliv Michael Explains It All, or Nothing at All. Yeah, Michael explains it all or nothing at all. Basically, I'm trying to keep this short because I know that sometimes these get out of hand. But Pirastro Oliv Strings, this is the first time I'm reviewing a gut string. It's actually sort of a modern gut string. The strings are wound in different materials. Might as well cover this right now. So it has just a standard gold steel E, or chrome steel you might say. There's an aluminum A, a gold aluminum D, although there is a silver one also, but in the standard set comes with the gold aluminum D and also the gold silver G. So what that means is, I'll show you now, is that the bottom, like the core of the string, is a gut. Yeah, it's actually sheep guts. Yes, sheep guts. I'm sorry to all our, vegan and PETA watchers. This is how violin strings used to all be made. They were all gut strings, and they were solid gut. They weren't wound in the metals that we use today. So basically, what that means is there are a couple other gut core string options, but Oliv is a fantastic set of strings. They do take much longer to break in and settle in. So unlike some of the other string videos I've made, I've left these on for about 3 weeks now, and I think they're just now starting to really kind of just mellow out. They really sound nice. The other thing with gut strings is, and I'm sure that's even regular gut strings too, is that they're very sensitive. They take, they don't stay in tune very well at all, so I apologize if they're already out of tune. Well, that one I just messed up. And they're going to go out of tune a little bit more. So they're not quite as stable as synthetic strings, or also steel core strings, obviously being the most stable. Let's hear what they sound like, eh? As always, I'm using the Fiddlerman Artist Violin and the Holstein 2-star bow. You can learn more about those in the links below. All right, so let's jump into my tone grading graph wheel here. To start off with projection, I didn't grade these very high at all. And I know that sounds harsh, but they're not really a incredibly loud set of strings, especially compared to some of the synthetic core and steel core strings that I've just done. So really, volume is not everything. Although, playing loud and high and fast is what much of the pop world would lead you to believe is the most important thing. For me, don't care that much. Color, I did put these very high on the dark side. They just have, and also sort of warmth. I know they're very connected, color and temperature, that they're just they have this very nice just world of dark hues. And they don't call them olive, sort of that color, that nice rich color that's just a deep color. They don't call them that for nothing. Just wonderful variety of deep tones. Interesting. They are also deep. It's hard to completely explain what deep means. And a different aspect than, I know you're probably thinking of like a cave or something. There's lots of levels, is one way to think about it. In that even when you dig into a note, it feels like there are just multiple layers that you can find a new tone of depth. Like you start off like even, and yes, that is sort of related to dynamics. Like there's just it's very complex. There's lots of, you start off at the top and you're just like, that's interesting. I wonder if I press more, you get this. It just keeps going and it keeps expanding. There's just like really a lot of possibilities, which is not the case with a lot of strings. A lot of times, some strings you just press them, and it's just like the same thing the whole way. I don't know if that translated well. It's just like the same sound. And with these, it really feels like there's just like lots of possibilities. A lot of people talk about, I think that's related to the overtones with gut strings. There's lots of overtones that you're hearing, maybe more so than, synthetic core strings. Let's keep going before we get bogged down in our cave of tone here. Response is, again, not that great. They're not going to be as quick as steel or synthetic. It feels like it just takes just this split second longer to get that. By the time I get it feels like there's just a fraction of before I get sometimes I'm just hearing that, just the string sound, because the string hasn't started moving yet. So not the quickest string. Clarity, these are also, I think one of the pros, or one of the advantages, is that it has a lot of texture. It has a lot of complexity. There's, I know those aren't the definitions of what I use. I used fuzzy and clear to say what clarity is, but there's there is a lot of that recordy kind of sounding, and some of that, of course, is this violin is not the the picture perfect definition of clarity itself. It has a little bit of fuzz inherent to it, but the strings really have this nice kind of just mellowness. And I would think comparing these to some of our other strings that we've done, it is hard to be a fair comparison. One of the ones I think people would gravitate towards is the Obligatos, which are also very dark and very complex. Obligatos, I think, are going to have a little bit more punch to them. These are, Obligatos are probably going to project just a little bit more than the olives. But I think the olives, I just think of this string that's like, it's cultivating this very warm and very inviting and interesting world, but it's a little bit like, you have to come in here. And so I don't know exactly how they translate, in the hall or across the room from where I am. But for me, it's much like it's a string for violin players. Like, this is like, welcome to in my world where I am. The sound is there are infinite possibilities within here. Whereas other strings are like, hey, listen to my world, and there's a time and a place for all that stuff. in closing is I did want to re-emphasize the fact that they do take longer to settle in, so don't put these on and expect a world of lusciousness and depth, very quickly. They're gonna take a couple weeks. They're a little bit like, but the advantage then is that after they've settled in, they do last longer, supposedly, than some of their synthetic or steel core counterparts. That might be debatable, and you can light me up in the comments if you disagree. Don't put me on blast, man. The second to last thing I was going to mention, I know this is your Irish goodbye here, is that they're not a cheap set of strings. They are kind of pricey. They're pretty much up there with the most expensive strings you can find. They're around $135 for a set. That's for the medium set. And there are lots and lots of different options for tensions or gauges. And I normally recommend just sticking with the medium tension, especially if this is the first time you're trying the strings. But there are lots of options for you to experiment with. I think especially if you are doing some alternative tuning, maybe some early music where you are tuning to a lower pitch, if you're tuning to 415 or 425 or something like this, you might want a heavier tension so that you can be, your violin, responds at that lower pitch. So there are like 5 different tension options to explore for the A, D, and G. I believe the E only comes in the standard soft, medium, or stiff. Isn't this just like riveting information? Well, thanks so much for watching this. If you have made it all the way, it truly means the world to me. I'm gonna stop rambling. This is Michael Rambles and explains nothing and stuff. So do let me know though, if you've tried olives, what you thought about them, and maybe what you went to instead, or if you were using a different string and you moved to olive and you just couldn't be happier. I love to hear all these things, and it helps. I think it helps us all know, helps us out on our journey of finding a great set of strings. Thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in picking up a set of olive strings, you can follow the links at the end of this video. They should be right up here. We look forward to seeing you at fiddlershop.com. Thanks for watching. All right, everybody, I hope that was helpful. If you want to learn more and purchase this product, you can do so by clicking right up here. We would also love it if you subscribe to our channel so we can keep in touch. You can do that by clicking right over here. And if you want to learn more about Fiddlershop in general and everything we do, just click right over here. Do it. You can do it. Thanks so much, and we'll see you at fiddlershop.com.